Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, well, yesterday was Memorial Day, right? The unofficial start of summer. And maybe somewhere the weather's getting warmer, because it ain't here. But in a lot of places, it's comfortable to be outside. Go out in a pair of shorts, go out in a t-shirt, whatever, right? You enjoy working in the yard, barbecuing, playing ball with the dogs or with the kids or whatever, hanging out in the backyard, just BSing with friends, right? Summertime. Enjoyable. Except this is also the time for the nut jobs on the left that, hey, you know what? The weather's nice. It's not cold. We can go out and raise Cain, right? Preparing for the summer of chaos, Violence Incorporated. This is pretty much what the lunatic left is preparing for, is doing. And what are you preparing for in response? That's my question. Last week we went to the concert in Nashville, uber liberal Nashville. This is the town where the mayor was screaming bloody murder about ICE arresting illegals. Not that there aren't a whole bunch of other ones, but, when you get the state cops in there doing traffic stops to pull over illegals, and the cop is like, we're a town of illegal immigrants, and we're going to be that way. Funny, I thought you were a town based on country music. I'm sorry, the country that they're singing about in all those songs ain't Mexico. All right, but I don't know, there's a couple of songs that mention tequila, but okay. But take a look at what happened this weekend. Now, mind you, Memorial Day's a U.S. holiday, so, it wasn't all around the world that yesterday was included. But let's take a look at some of the wonderful things that we had happen. Let's start in Seattle. Deep, dark blue Seattle. You had I don't know how you want to put it, a religious prayer festival, okay? Christian activists, okay, from On Fire Ministries, hosting a rally, right, to bring people closer to God. Nah, we couldn't do that. We had to get a whole bunch of liberals, a whole bunch of wokesters coming in there and raising hell. Throwing water bottles at these people, screaming and yelling. These people are there for a prayer festival. But no, we couldn't have that because God knows liberalism and God do not belong in the same encyclopedia, okay, set thereof. And eventually it got so bad that the Washington State Police had to come to start arresting all these protesters. No, violent rioters would be a better way to put it. Okay. Seattle police couldn't handle it. They needed, I'm surprised we didn't have to have the National Guard come in. At a prayer festival. Okay. Go to church on Sunday. Gee, maybe you walk out in the parking lot and a bunch of liberals are out there, I don't know, keying cars, slashing tires, because they don't do that though, right? Ask anybody that owns a Tesla, all right? We could move on along to lovely Los Angeles, where you had Saturday night, a group of about 50 terrorists, let's just put it this way, trying to block metro trains, vandalizing the trains, busting windows out of them, spray painting them, everything like that. Because, certainly these people didn't need the trains to, get to work this morning maybe. Because God forbid one of these nut jobs on the left actually have a job. Okay. It's amazing how they can all go out and protest on a Thursday afternoon. Because they don't have to go to work. We have too much ability to collect our welfare checks and scam the system, right? Okay. So what you wound up having was a bunch of LAPD out there to arrest all these people, okay? This went on for about 8 hours, All right, so moving on along, let's go to lovely New York City. Gee, I don't know, what color would New York City be on the political spectrum? You had a bunch of recent graduates from Columbia University, New York City, okay, all decked out in their keffiyehs, who, after getting their diplomas, decided to go out in the streets and rip up their diplomas and burn them because, hey, this has got to be our protest on the war in Gaza. Okay, if you're so set on pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel, get on a plane, go over to Gaza, and fight. Oh, we couldn't do that. No, I'm too much of a coward to do something like that. I can yell and scream about what I believe in, but God forbid I actually do something. Hey, all you keffiyeh-wearing pussies, I have no respect for you, okay? You won't stand up for what you believe in unless somebody else will fight your battles for you. That's the definition of coward, okay? Hey, let's go over to Great Britain. Gee, what would we say about, I don't know, the entire country over there? Not all the people, but the entire country's gone liberal lunatic. We had a guy decide to drive a van through a parade, if you will, celebrating one of their soccer teams and a title they won. Nope, this guy had to go absolutely insane and just decide to kill people. Remember, you can't own guns in Great Britain. Even the cops don't carry guns. So, knife attacks are way up. Hey, vehicles work too. Give them a couple of years and Great Britain will make cars illegal because they're deadly weapons. Right? Oh, I don't know. Keep moving along. You could go to Canada. Gee, which political way does Canada lean? Are you seeing a pattern here? Okay. Over the weekend, you had a bunch of pro-Palestinian far-left nut jobs blocking the Ontario food terminal, where somewhere about 2 billion pounds of food is moved annually, okay, preventing the trucks from getting in so they could get the produce shipped out to the grocery stores. Because, not getting apples and corn to the people in Canada is really important to free Palestine. Idiots, nut jobs, lunatic liberals. What do you think is going to happen to all these protests, all these riots, when Israel decides, hey, you know what? We think we're going to take out Iran's nuclear facilities. That's been in the news for a week, and Israel has already said is in the planning stages to do. How much more violence are we going to see about all these cowardly protesters who think putting on their little blue and white keffiyehs makes them look so important? Nobody gives a shit what you think. But they'll get more violent if they can throw water bottles, which will, they've done many times, freeze them first, so now they're like hard as a rock. If they can bust windows out of trains, if they can block commerce, if they can, key cars, firebomb dealerships. Do you see where this is going? Summer's just starting. Now, when I was in Nashville, granted the crowd to go see the concert I was at was primarily my age, it was amazing how peaceful the people were. In uber blue Nashville, and you had I don't know how you want to put this, a very colorless crowd, let's put it that way, of people that were mostly in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Everybody moved in nicely. Everybody had a ball at the concert. Everybody moved out nicely. Didn't see any fights, didn't see any arguments, didn't hear anything in the stories about anybody getting hurt. Funny how that works, okay? Because it wasn't gee, we've got to protest climate change or protest pro-Palestinians. Because I'll tell you what, if they would have been there to do that, they'd have got their ass kicked. Because there were a whole bunch of people, Gen Xers primarily, but some Yers, Zoomers, Millennials, maybe there were some baby boomers in there because they'd be a little older than me. We'd have turned around and kicked the living shit out of them. Okay, it was funny. You saw quite a bit of leather. Okay, I saw some guys in there wearing their vests with their colors. Okay, and it's funny how nobody cared. They were polite. They were nice. Everybody was there to have a good time. Don't mess with a bunch of people that are going to a hard rock concert. And we walked back to our hotel. It was about a mile. And there weren't any problems in Uber Blue, Nashville. The protesters were smart enough not to protest where they knew they were going to get the shit kicked out of them. Okay. But they're okay doing it in other places. Now, where are you going this summer? What are you going to do? What happens if you're on the beach? Or, I'm not talking about Malibu or Florida or something like that. I'm talking about there's a lake nearby or whatever it is, and you're on the beach, the river or something. And a bunch of these idiots decide to come up and give you shit. They believe in safety in numbers. They look for where they have the advantage. Let's put it this way. You go in and start raising hell at a prayer vigil, prayer service, a prayer rally. Chances are those people aren't really going to fight back too much. Though you might be surprised. You get on the train trying to go home from work or wherever. Trying to go home from, you went out clubbing Saturday night, you didn't want to drive, so you took the train home, right? We'll terrorize those people because there's more of us. This is what they're going to do. Again, do not, under any circumstances, live your life in fear. You need to be the alpha in the crowd, not the beta. That's the thing. That's what they count on, that all of us are going to be afraid of. We'll just start screaming at him, tell him he's a racist or something like that. I hate to tell you this. Those words don't mean shit anymore. Okay? You get up in my face, you're going to be looking at me from the ground, if you can see it all. And that's the way we need to start handling these people. If the police only can do so much or won't do anything, then it's up to us to put these people in their place. You're in my way, you're a speed bump. I'm just going to run right over you. I'll throw a shoulder into anybody. I don't care. You got a problem? Come at me. Okay. It's what I've said many times. Go out in groups. Certainly, ladies, do not go out alone. Guys, that's up to you. Okay. Depending on how big you are, they might not mess with you. I want to walk through a crowd of pro-Palestinian supporters. They'll move for me because I will stand my ground. And every single one of us needs to do the same. This is our country. If they want to be pro-Palestinian, if they want to be pro-climate change, if they want to be pro-terrorist, go move somewhere where they agree with that. Because this country ain't it. Stay strapped, stay strong, stand your ground, and don't take any shit from these assholes. Pinball out.